Howdy folks, welcome to this week's Ag Report. So you may be seeing a lot in the news or online, that kind of stuff about grass fires, wildfires, different things like that. So thought I would share with you, some local information, firsthand account about a grass fire. So this is our hay field here. As you can see, it burned off several acres behind me. Now, I say it was a hay field, okay? It was standing grass, still had green color to it. You can kind of see some green over there. It wasn't like it was brown exactly or, killed or like wheat stuff. And so we were cutting our hay. And in these extreme dry conditions that we have, it does not take much to set things on fire. So we were actually cutting here. You can probably see there's a utility pole behind me. Several years ago, about, 3 years ago, maybe 4, they changed these poles out. They were wooden and they put in the steel ones. Well, evidently, there was a bracket from the old wooden ones that got left in the field. Now, we've probably cut this thing 6 times or so since then. Never had an issue, never hit anything or had a problem. So that bracket was laying kind of flat with the ground. Because of the extreme drought, our soil moves a whole lot when it gets dry and when it gets wet, that kind of stuff. So that bracket just happened to get in the right position, and as hot and dry as we have been coming through with that hay cutter, it just nicked the corner of that bracket. And that's all it took to poof, set the grass on fire, the hay that we had cut on fire, the dust, just kind of went poof. And it quickly started burning through this hay field. The standing hay over here that we hadn't cut, burned just as quick as where we had cut it. So, in that situation, first phone call was, trying to get the fire department out. My landlord's house is about 100 yards to this side of me. The wind was kind of blowing the direction that you see it back this way, but it was creeping over towards the house. I let the fire department know, that there was a structure that was nearby, a residence. So they quickly, sent the trucks, out or put the call out. And the other thing that I did, just trying to be neighborly, being that it was headed that way, I called my neighbor on the backside to give him a heads up that, there was a fire that had started over here and it was kind of coming his way. Now, it was a blessing that I did that. I did not know this, but he was actually filling up his water wagon and putting a hose on it as we spoke. And so he says, "I'll be right there." I didn't know what right there meant, but sure enough, within about a minute, he came flying around the corner with his water wagon and a hose on there. So I could get on the end of the hose, and he drove, and we started kind of skirting the edge of it closest to the house here until the fire department could get here. Fire department came quickly. They came with several brush trucks. They came with a tanker truck to try and get a handle on it because, it was close to a house. And in those conditions, afterwards, I talked to him. I said, "Hey, y'all got here real quick. Really appreciate that." He said, "Well, we've just been staying at the fire station over at Forston because they have so many calls going out there." So I share this with you just to let you know that you don't have to be popping firecrackers or burning brush to start things on fire. It can be something as simple as mowing your yard, as mowing your pasture, as cutting hay, that kind of stuff. So I would suggest, keep your eyes open, watch out for your neighbors. Fortunately, we saw this very shortly after it had started. In other words, meaning when you're cutting hay, you're kind of looking ahead, watching out for things or where you're going. You don't always just watch what's behind you. So it was a good thing that my son saw what was going on behind him rather than making another lap around the field before he saw it. So keep an eye out for your neighbors. If you see some smoke, See if you can kind of help them, in any way. It may be moving some trailers around. Maybe if they've got a hay pile that's getting threatened, it might be helping them move some hay out of the way. Hay is in short supply this year. It's very expensive. It's hard to get. So just, kind of do what you can when you're mowing and stuff. If you don't have to be mowing, it's not going to grow anytime soon. You might can put that off till, later. If you do have to mow, maybe earlier in the morning or later in the evening in there. We're doing our best to try to cut this hay maybe in the morning or in the evening. You can't just stop when you have, a lot to do. You kind of have to use the daylight hours as best you can. But we're doing our best to try and hopefully keep this from happening again. But like I say, it was a fluke thing hitting a piece of metal. I have heard of fires on 878 and 879 where they were cutting hay. They think that they just nicked a rock over there. There's some, in that part of the county, there's some round, tan colored kind of rocks that are just natural in the soil over there. It's just one of those things. The conditions it's such a tinderbox. It doesn't take much to set things off. So anyways, just wanted to kind of share with you some thoughts there, kind of what we experienced firsthand and kind of what's going on as you drive around the place. Y'all take care now.